So this is our base camp for the week. We're staying at Lakewood Lodge, and you can see here on each end there's a fish cleaning cabin. You see all these different cabins, and so this place is actually built in the early 1900s, but I tell you what, these cabins are pretty nice. Definitely a great destination. But you see here, screened in porch, and these cabins have a lot of room. See a big kitchen, we've got a living area, television, really large bedrooms. There's plenty of room outside to park a boat, plug in a boat, you can park a snowmobile. This place is open all year, and so it's got everything in the sense that you could bring your family, maybe bring people that maybe aren't as hardcore into the outdoors and have that quality northern Minnesota lake experience. You've got the nice swim beach, campfires for cooking s'mores. They do outdoor movie nights. It's really kind of a family-friendly, kid-friendly atmosphere. And this is a part of Minnesota that we've spent a lot of time around and in, but we've never filmed in this little corner of the world. And I think what makes this part of the world special is just all the good panfish opportunities. So you have Sand Lake, you've got Squaw Lake, Round Lake, Ball Club, Bowstring, then you've got obviously Winnebagosh right next door and Cutfoot. I mean, just so many, I guess we call smaller lakes. And yeah, you can come out here and catch a lot of walleyes, but this part of the world is really a special place for panfish. You've got really good crappies, really good perch, big bluegills.
Well, like pulling these spinners through these weeds, I mean, right now we're kind of focusing on crappies, but you can also, I mean, there's gonna be walleyes mixed in, or maybe move out a little deeper. You can do this, this presentation at this time of year along these weeds. It congregates all the fish into them, and you don't know what you're gonna run into.
Just kind of a panfish paradise in my mind.
You could probably, within a 20-minute drive, go to 100 different lakes in this area.
There we go. Oh yeah, there's Mr. Crappie too. I'll just lift this one in. Oh yeah, isn't that great sight? Middle of the summertime. You just want to eat some fish, and that's about as good as it gets. I tell you what, this fish is lucky day. I've got fresh fish, because that right there is the size of fish I like to keep and eat. That's just perfect. Perfect, Charlie.
Yeah, nice one, real good one.
That fish will have stories to tell its kids. This is kind of a cool, fun pattern that, would you say, happens most of the summer, as far as finding crappies up in these cabbage stands, up in these shallow weeds?
Yeah, it usually starts July sometime when they start to come out of the middle of the lake back into the weed lines here, and you kind of run above the weeds. We have a small, light 1/8 ounce bullet sinker on, and keeps us just the top of the weed line, top of those weeds, and they kind of stay in those weeds, and you just keep going over them, and they love these spinners.
And this is something that happens in a lot of places in Minnesota, a lot of these natural lakes. You can come out here middle of summer, end of summer, run these spinners. I mean, we're only in 5-6 feet of water. These weeds will hold fish through a big part of the summer.
Well, the main reason is the water gets, a lot of times in a hot summer like we're having, oxygen depletes out in the middle, and it forces them back into the weeds where the weeds are producing oxygen. And it kind of congregates them up in those weeds, and when you congregate some fish together, it makes it a lot easier to catch.
Oh, that hit it hard.
It's fun when they do that.
That is cool. I think they just...
Another nice crappie.
Yeah, I think they probably they're just laying in those weeds, they just come up and smoke it. That's cool. Oh, lift her in here.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, pretty simple, you're not in very much water. 5-6 feet of water, the weeds are coming up. You only have 2 or 3 feet of water fishing, so it's just a short cast behind the boat. I think people would be surprised how hard they hit these baits. Kind of a fun, really a fun way to spend a summer day fishing, that's for sure.
I grew up in the Deer River area. I guess I never left town. Been here my whole life. This is my 30th year of guiding. What I like it about here is it's small boats. You don't have to drive 30 miles by water or anything like that. We have basically 100 lakes within a 20-minute drive. I grew up, I never had an opportunity to fish many panfish. My dad was more of a walleye lake trout man, and so I'm still got the kid in me, and I enjoy that a lot of action. I like to get bit. Crappies, they smack it hard. They're fun. They're great table fare. They bite a lot. You know, it's that fast action.
Oh,
You got a nice crappie.
I got a nice
I think
crappie.
I've got something else.
Okay, what do you got?
Mine's going down deep. Oh, I got,
You got a nice crappie too. Look at that.
Oh, there's a real slab.
Oh,
Look at that. Beautiful.
yeah, that is the best. You think, I might have a small pike. Nope. That is
Dude.
great.
Hold still, Mr. Crappie. Here.
This is
Good
kind of
job.
a panfish paradise
Yeah.
in this area, you know it?
Very, there they
Very
go.
cool. Very cool.
Fun, too.
Double a fish like that? My goodness. I'll get you a minnow here. You could probably use plastics too on these spinners, but
Hook them through the mouth, out the gill plate, and take these long shank hooks and stick it far back as you can through the side of the minnow. That way, when a fish hits it, he hits it behind it, you still got him hooked. It's amazing how many less misses you have with that. Away we go.
you know, no doubt you could probably throw a slip bobber in there. You could probably use your typical crappie gear, but I think probably the thing to point out is just how big some of these weed flats can be. I mean, we're just burning along these shorelines where these fish could be anywhere, and so.
Guy would hit that, you know, waypoint that we doubled up there. That would,
Yeah,
you know, there's
let's
probably
maybe-
a little pod of them sitting there.
Yeah, maybe we just turn around right now and do it, huh? Let's go
Yeah,
back
we
through
can.
there.
We
Turn
sure
around
can.
here.
Eric, fish on it.
Got one?
Yeah.
I got one too.
Well, another nice crappie coming in.
All right.
Another double.
All right,
Beauty.
that is cool. Oh, come here. Mine's a little smaller, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
You got a nice one there.
Oh.
Not bad, huh?
Sweet.
You know, this spinner program is just so deadly, so many different areas. You know, across Minnesota, especially at these shallow lakes where you get a lot of weed growth, you know, you're gonna find fish in the weeds. You know, when you control a bullet weight and spinner harness like we're doing, you control a beetle spin, you control like a Roadrunner style underspin type spinner, you know, the plastic tail. But, you know, a lot of it's just dragging over the tops of these weeds and fishing shallow. And this is something that'll last through the summer. There we go. Boy,
Fish
that
on.
that fish hit it so hard. Trolling for crappies. Look at that, that's a nice one.
Nice.
Lift that one up. Oh,
Beauty.
that is a beautiful fish. I just love how hard they hit. Hook bottom of the jaw there. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Did you have a swing and a miss there?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You know, these spinners are probably only, goodness, a foot or two underneath the surface of the water. And obviously the weeds are the program. Those weeds are coming up 4 or 5 feet. And tell you what, if you're looking for a weed, look for cabbage. You get nice, tall cabbage. Seems like it'll hold fish all summer. Kind of feel it tickling those stalks.
Yeah.
Kind of finding the right speed and the right cast, you know, which we're only 20 feet behind the boat at the most. You know, so it's pretty simple. You know, you're just basically a 6.5 foot medium action rod. You can use 6 to 8 pound test. We're just using 6 pound monofilament. Just a small bullet weight. You might be able to get away with a split shot, but I think that bullet weight just kind of snakes through some of these weeds a little easier. And basically a spinner harness like you'd use for walleye fishing. Probably the only difference is, you know, you make sure you use that long shank hook so you can slide that minnow up the hook. You know, so if you're a walleye angler in Minnesota, chances are you have this exact same setup. You just take your favorite jigging or rigging rod and come up into these shallow weeds, put the trolling motor down and go. I think the key here is to find them. You know, we go through stretches that look good, but for whatever reason they're not there, and then all of a sudden you hit bang, 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 and turn around and catch a few more, and then you go down a little ways. And you know, so this is a really simple fish. I mean, you're going a mile and a half an hour. You've got a tiny little bullet weight just to keep that spinner down in the water, and it's just a short cast behind the boat. If you're really bogging down with weeds, where you're just getting hung up all the time, you're either going too slow or you have too much weight on, but just trying to find that happy balance where you're just skimming along the tops of those weeds. And so really simple program. 10-pound snell, 8-pound snell, just to make it a little bit more pike proof, because you're going to catch some toothy critters doing this, but it's just a program that works, and you can cover so much water. I mean, you can break down water so fast by just pulling a spinner mile and a half an hour. You know, some of these spots are big, and so you do have to cover water, but that is just a fast, simple way to do it. And it's amazing how these spinners will just skim through those weeds. I mean, you can just see weeds, you know, reaching up, big tall stalks of cabbage coming up off the bottom, and that bullet weight and that spinner harness will just skate right on through. There we go. That's how they're supposed to hit, huh? Oh yeah, that's a nice crappie.
Come right up to the top, nice.
Golly, some of these hit it so hard. That's just so much fun. Oh, stay in the water. Look at that. That is a slab.
Dandy. Ooh.
There we go.
Oh, look at that big. Beautiful.
That is beautiful. That is fun. Kind of see the weeds coming up here. I mean, they're reaching all the way up to the surface, but you know, this basically starts when the weeds start growing. You've got about this much window between the tops of the cabbage and the top of the water. You're running that spinner through that little gap, that little open water, and you got these slabs just coming up and crushing it. What a cool way to catch a crappie. We're all out of bait, aren't we? You need minnows, I need minnows. There you go. You know, at the bait shop this morning, he had all those minnows in that bag. I thought, boy, if we go through all those, that'll be a great day. And goodness, we're sure going to try, aren't we?
I hate to run out of ammo.
Yeah, don't want to be down to your bayonet.
Not a good sign. It's time of year. They're usually in the spring. They move in the shallows, lay their eggs in the pencil reeds and stuff, make a nest, and then once that happens, they disperse out in the main lake bodies, and then they're hard to find. They're not congregated up, but seems like every fall, I think they come back because there's a lot of oxygen in the weeds, and with that oxygen brings in the bait fish. And they all love to, you know, they get into that weeds, and they like that for cover. It's shade. They got everything right there in them weeds, so, and that brings them in. And when you bring any species of fish into one small area, you congregate them up, and then it's a lot easier to catch them and catch a lot of numbers. They're crappie.
Yeah.
Mr. Crappie.
Come here.
Got
Boy,
one
you
on.
look good in grease.
Got a double almost.
You got one?
Yeah.
You would look so good in grease. All right.
Almost a double. Yeah, we just hit a go through a school and bang, bang. Nice little shiny.
Need a minnow?
Yes, sir. Away he goes. Back to swim for another day. I like the fact with these long shank hooks, there ain't many misses. I mean, I found that out the hard way years ago. Fishing alongside another fishing guy, and he, side by side, we're running along the shoreline, and we get the hits, same amount of hits. I got a third of the fish in the boat that he does at the end of the day. I said, pulled up by the boats on the trailer, I said, now open up that rod locker. And I said, there's some reason that I don't have the same amount of fish as you do. We had the bites and we were missing. And
Yeah.
we had that long shanked hook in there.
I suppose that hook comes out further back, and I suppose it's an
Yep.
efficiency thing too. Your minnow stays on, ripping it through these weeds.
Yep, and then when the hook hits short, that hook's by the tail, and I had good luck with those double hooks on these spinners, but once that back hook wore off or broke, and then you had that front hook, it was just, and you hook it through the mouth and of the minnow.
You know, you don't
just
like to
missed
have
it.
those days happen, but those days where somebody cleans your clock or catches a
Yeah.
bunch of fish and you don't catch as many fish, those are probably the most valuable days you have
Yeah.
on the water. Boy,
I
talk
never,
about
I
a-
never had a small hook after that day.
Yeah.
I sat there. His pole, I walked over, his pole's bent. Mine's just, we're just swinging and missing. And that something ain't working here, right? So and today, I mean, we've missed a few, but not many.
Yeah. Classic Minnesota natural lake in the sense that you take your shoreline, you've got the sand that comes out, you've got all kinds of weeds and cabbage growing on, and then it drops off into this deeper water. You know, but obviously you got to make a few passes here to figure this out, go up and down it a few times. You know, these spots are big, obviously there's lots of shoreline, and so we're just cruising along here and kind of learning it, figuring it out as we go, and then catch a few. And obviously you start out with big, long trolling passes to learn the spot, and then once you catch a few fish and figure out where these weeds are, your trolling passes can get a little shorter. There's a nice fish right there. You know, and so this shallow water, you know, you're not going to mark fish on your electronics. You're going to see plenty of weeds. I mean, sometimes they practically black out the screen. If anything, you can see how tall the weeds are, so you know how far back and how deep to run your baits. But you know, you're not going to use your electronics in a traditional sense, and since you're just too shallow, you know, you're not going to mark fish. You're not going to see structure. But at the same time, your GPS probably gets more important, not so much as far as just seeing the contour, because when you're in this shallow water, a lot of these contour lines are going to be pretty vague. But what it does enable you to do is just get on the right line, in the sense of there'll be just a line that you have to be on where, you know, it might be say 5.5, 6 feet of water where that cabbage is coming up perfect. And if you get in too far, if you get out too far, you're just not on that edge, not on that zone where you're catching fish. And so a lot of, you know, as far as using electronics, it's pretty simple. You don't need much, but if there's one thing that can help you, just that plot line on your GPS. Whoa, that was a hit. You think that can't be a crappie? This is. It's gonna make my day. It might be a walleye. Oh, jerk the rod out of my hand. Oh, it is a crappie. Just a crappie with a lot of attitude. Goodness. They got that big old mouth. Oh, that fish hit it so hard. Yeah, that is good. You think, that can't be a crappie. Oh.
Beauty.
That is
another
beautiful
nice
fish.
crappie.
That is great. And they're just nice, thick fish. Yeah, that's just fun stuff.
Fish on. Looks like a nice crappie.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it is. Goodness. They got a mouth that's like a styrofoam cup getting reeled in. This is just a fishy program, you know what?
I'm gonna lift him up real quick and he's gonna come off.
Oh.
Ooh, he's just hanging by his paper mouth. Yeah, very nice. They're beautiful fish, excellent fish for table fare, a lot of fun for the kids, family, and plentiful species around in this area.
Oh, look at this one. Oh, that's a nice, goodness. Hook is barely hanging on there, but yeah, just the prettiest build on a crappie. Goodness. Tell you what, shallow weed line cabbage crappies, dog days of summer, not many things better. That makes a splash.